Hello everyone, welcome to part 10 of the Kaleidoscope Blanket by Bligh. These 2 weeks we finally get to the octagons. I know a lot of us were really excited to get to this part of the blanket. We are going to be making 9 of these rather large motifs over the next 2 weeks. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. You are going to start with a magic circle, okay? So I just wind it around my finger, okay? Insert your hook and pull up a loop and then chain 1. Okay, that's how I start my magic circle, okay? Now, after your chain 1, then you're going to put 8 single crochets into the magic circle. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, after your 8th one, go ahead and pull it tight. Pull your string to pull it together. Oops, sorry. Let me get mine pulled together. And then, there. And I lost my hook. Let me grab my loop back on there. Okay, after you've pulled it tight, go ahead and slip stitch into your beginning single chain. Okay, so I'm going to insert my hook into the stitch, pull a loop through, and then pull it through the next one as well. Okay, this is row 1. Okay, for row 2, you're going to chain 3 and then double crochet into the same stitch. So I'm going to put into the base of that chain 3 and do a double crochet. Chain 1 and then do 2 double crochets into the next stitch. Okay. And this is our repeat, so we're going to continue around, do a chain 1 and do 2 double crochets into the next stitch. And we're going to continue around our circle. Okay. Okay, now I have done my last 2 double crochets. Okay, then I'm going to chain 1 and join with a slip stitch to my beginning double crochet. Now remember, when you chain 3 at the beginning of the row, that counts as a double crochet. So we're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 3, which is your double crochet. Okay, So this is what we have at the end of row 2. Okay, so for row 3, you can see that we are at the top of our first double crochet, and we need to slip stitch into this chain 1 space right here. So we're going to have to slip stitch into this next double crochet and then slip stitch again into the chain 1 space. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, here's my slip stitch, my first one, and then into the space. Okay, so now I'm in my chain 1 space. Okay, I am going to chain 4 and then do a double crochet into the same chain 1 space. Okay, now you're going to skip 1 stitch and do a double crochet into the next stitch. And now we're going to do kind of a crossover stitch, okay? So you're going to do a double crochet into the stitch that you just skipped, okay? And we're going to do it in front of the double crochet that you just made, okay? So it's kind of tricky. Let me show you how to make it easier, okay? Yarn over and make sure that you are holding on to the post of that last double crochet. Okay, that's the trick to this. Hold on to the post, yarn over and insert it into that stitch. Hold your hook up like this and pull it through, and you're kind of getting the top of it, and then you're going to bend that double crochet back. Okay, now you can insert your hook, yarn over and pull that one through, and now you see we have 3 loops. Yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. So what you end up with is a double crochet crossed over another double crochet. Okay, now the next thing to do is a V-stitch into the next chain 1 space. So remember, with a V-stitch we do a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet all into the next chain 1 space. Now you're going to do another you're going to skip a stitch, do your double crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to do that crossover stitch again. Okay, so remember, hold on to your double crochet post, yarn over, insert it into the stitch that we're supposed to go into, hold your stitch up or your hook face up and kind of yank that, not yank it, but hook it on that yarn, and then bend your double crochet post back over the top of it. Okay, so now we can yarn over and pull through your loop. Yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, I was trying to get a close-up so you could see what I was doing. Okay, so now we do a V-stitch again into the next chain 1 space. This is our repeat. A V-stitch in a chain 1 space, and then our crossover double crochets. So again, you're going to skip 1 stitch, do a double crochet into the next one. Okay, now we're going to go back and do a double crochet into that stitch that we skipped. So hold on to your double crochet post, yarn over, insert your hook, and remember, hold it face up, and then bend that double crochet back over the top. Yarn over and then pull through a loop. Yarn over through 2 loops, and yarn over through 2 loops. Crochet and a chain 1. So you're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain up, okay? So here is my slip stitch, and then this is what we have at the end of row 3. Okay, so for row 4, we are going to start using color B. So I'm going to go ahead and lay it across the back right there so I can start carrying it. Our first instruction is to slip stitch into the first chain 1 space. Okay, so now I've slip stitched, chain 4, and then do a double crochet into the same stitch. We are going to change colors at the end of this double crochet. Okay. Now I want to call your attention to the fact that that first chain 4 becomes your first double crochet chain 1 of a V-stitch. So that becomes your V-stitch at the beginning right there. You're going to skip your next stitch, okay? And we're going to do a front post double crochet around the double crochet that is hiding behind this crossover double crochet. Okay, so you're going to yarn over, go back behind it, and kind of come up in between the middle of those two, and your hook will just kind of poke through. Okay, yarn over, go through 2 loops, and then change colors at the end of that front post double crochet. Okay, now remember we skipped 1 stitch right there, so we're going to do a single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Okay, so you're actually doing your first single crochet in the top of the same stitch that you just did your front post double crochet in. Okay, so you kind of have to tuck your hook back behind it. Then we're going to do our single crochet into the next stitch as well, change colors at the end of it. Now we're going to do a front post double crochet into that crossover double crochet. So yarn over, go back behind it, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and pull through, well, don't pull through those final 2 because we got to change colors. You know it. Okay, so there is that one. Okay, skip 1 stitch, and now you are going to be in a chain 1 space. You're going to do a V-stitch into that chain 1 space. So do a double crochet, whoops, I dropped my work. Okay, so do a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all into that chain 1 space. Okay, skip 1 stitch. Oops, I forgot to change colors at the end of that last double crochet. So let me back just a little bit. Okay, whoops. Okay, so now we're going to do our front post double crochet around that post that is hiding behind that crossover double crochet. So yarn over, tuck back behind it, and just try to come up through the middle, and your hook, my hook comes up pretty easy. Okay, change colors. Now remember, the first single crochet is going to go into the top of that double crochet that we just did a post around it. Okay, so single crochet in that one, single crochet into the next one, change colors back to color B. Now we're going to do a front post double crochet around that crossover double crochet. So yarn over, go back behind it, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then change colors. Okay, you're going to skip 1 stitch, and that is going to put you into a chain 1 space from another V-stitch. We're going to work a V-stitch into that chain 1 space. Okay, so double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Remember, you're going to change colors at the end of that double crochet. Now we're going to do our front post double crochet into that double crochet that is hiding behind this crossover. So yarn over, go back behind it, and come up through the middle. Yarn over and pull around. Okay, don't forget to change colors back to color A. Now we're going to do a single crochet into the top of that stitch that you just did a post around. So single crochet, oops, look, I left my tail hanging, so let me go back and fix that real quick. So I'm going to back out that single crochet, pull my yarn back behind there, and now do that single crochet. Oops. Okay, here's the first one. 1 single crochet into the top of the next stitch, change back to color B, and then do a front post double crochet around that front crossover double crochet. Change colors back to color A, skip 1 stitch, and do a V-stitch into the next one. So I want to call your attention to the repeat for this round, okay? So the repeat is you're going to do a V-stitch into the chain 1 space of 1 V-stitch, a front post double crochet, 2 single crochets, and a front post double crochet. That is your repeat for this row, okay? So you're just going to complete that and then start another one, okay? All the way around. Okay, so I will come back when I get to the end of this row now. Okay, so I'm on my last front post double crochet. I'm going to change back to color A, and then you're going to join with a slip stitch in your beginning double crochet. So you're going to do that into the 3rd chain up of the chain 4 that you started with. Okay, so here is what you should have at the end of row 4. Okay, for row 5, you're going to again slip stitch into the next chain 1 space. Okay, and then we have a note that we don't need to carry color B around. Okay, so we can just leave it hanging in the back. We're going to chain 4 and do a double crochet into the same stitch. Okay, skip the next stitch, so skip this one, and then do 4 single crochets. Okay, so we're going to skip this one, do a single crochet into the next 4 stitches after that. Okay, so 2, 3, and 4. Okay, skip a stitch and do a V-stitch into that chain 1 space that is next. Okay, so double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Okay, so that is the end of the first repeat. Okay, so let me go over the repeat with you again. Okay, so you're going to start by skipping a stitch and doing a single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. So 2, 3, and 4. Okay, you're going to skip the next stitch, and the one after that is going to be a chain 1 space. you're going to do your V-stitch into that chain 1 space. Okay, now that is your repeat, and you're going to do that all the way around. Okay, so skip a stitch, 4 single chains, single crochets, skip a stitch, and do a V-stitch into the next one. Okay, all the way around. I'll come back at the end of this row. Okay, so I just completed my last single crochet of my 4 single crochets across right there. My next stitch would be to skip a stitch, and then I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the beginning double crochet. Okay, so I'm going to count up 3 chains and do a slip stitch into that stitch. So you can kind of see your octagon taking shape. Okay, this is what it's going to look like at the end of row 5. Okay, for row 6, we're going to slip stitch into the chain 1 space. I'm going to go ahead and carry my color B behind it. Go ahead and chain 1 and single crochet into that same space. Single crochet into the next stitch and change colors at the end of that single crochet. Now we're going to do a front post double crochet into our post that we started earlier, just down below. Okay. Skip 1 stitch from row 5. Switch back to color A, and then do 3 single crochets in each stitch across. So 1, 2, and 3. Go ahead and change back to color B. Do a front post double crochet into the post directly below. Change back to color A. Do not skip a stitch this time, and do a single crochet into the next stitch, and then by this next one should be your back to your chain 1 space. Okay, so that is your repeat pattern. Okay, so let's go over the repeat one more time. Okay, so we're going to single crochet into the next stitch, change colors to color B, do a front post double crochet into the post directly below, change back to color A, skip 1 stitch from row 5, and do a single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. At the end of that last single crochet, change to color B, do a front post double crochet into the front post below. Do not skip a stitch on row 5. Do a single crochet into the next stitch and a single crochet into the chain 1 space. Okay, so there is your repeat. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that around, and then I'll come back and pick you up at the end. Okay, so I just made my last front post double crochet. I'm not going to skip a stitch, and I'm going to do my last single crochet for this row, and then the last thing we do is slip stitch to the beginning single crochet, and there is my slip stitch. So this is what it will look like at the end of row 6, and now we can break off color B and we'll start with row 7. Okay, so starting row 7, you're going to chain 4 and do a double crochet into the same stitch. Okay, that becomes a V-stitch. Then you're going to skip a stitch and do a V-stitch into the next stitch. Okay, so remember, a V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. You're going to chain 1 now, skip 3 stitches, and do a V-stitch into the next stitch. Okay, so you're skipping the 3 stitches between your colored post stitches. Okay, after that, you're going to skip a stitch and do a V-stitch into the next stitch. Okay, so double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Okay, so that is the repeat right there. So let's go over the repeat one more time. Okay, so you're going to skip a stitch, do a V-stitch into the next stitch. So V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, skip 3 stitches, chain 1, and do a V-stitch into the next stitch. Okay. V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, skip a stitch, and do a V-stitch into the next stitch. Okay, so that is our repeat to do all the way around. I will come back when I get to the end of row 7. Okay, so I'm to my last V-stitch, and I'm going to go ahead and put the V-stitch in, and then I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the beginning double crochet, sorry about that. Okay, so now we have a note to go ahead and put in some stitch markers for this round. So the way we're gonna do it is, okay, so here's where we began at, right here, okay? And so if you come over here and you go straight down, you have a post right here, okay? And we need to put stitch markers on the second double chain of the first V-stitch and the first double chain of the second V-stitch. Okay, so I'm gonna put it here, well, maybe, and then on this one. Okay, so there's those 2 stitch markers. Now let's go, see, here's our V down here. Let's go to our next V. Here's our next V, and we're gonna do those 2 inner posts right there. Okay, so around this one and, oops, this one. Okay, and you wanna go ahead and do that all the way around, okay? So now let's go ahead and go on to row 8. We are going to be introducing color C, so make sure you have it handy. You're going to slip stitch into your first chain 1 space. Okay, so here's my slip stitch, chain 1, and let's go ahead and lay that color C over so we can start carrying it. Chain 1, and do a single crochet into the same space. Okay, now we're going to do a single crochet into the next stitch and go ahead and change to color C. Okay, now we're going to do our first front post treble crochet around our post from below. Okay, so remember, a treble crochet, you're going to wind your yarn 2 times. Okay, then we're going to go around our post directly below, yarn over and pull through 2 loops 2 times, change back to color A, we're going to skip 1 stitch from row 7 and do a single crochet into the next space. Okay, that is going to be your chain 1 space at the top of one of your V-stitches. Okay, do a single crochet into the next stitch and change to color C. So now you'll be able to see that we are between the 2 V-stitches, and you're going to do a popcorn stitch into this middle stitch down below. Okay, so you can see between the posts we have 1, 2, and 3. You want to do your popcorn into that middle one. Okay, so I'm going to come down here, fold it back, and do my 5 double crochets of my popcorn stitch. So here's 2, 3, 4, and remember on the 5th one you're going to change back to color A. Okay, pull up a loop, go back through the top of the first double crochet, grab your loop and pull it through and pull it tight. Okay, there's your popcorn stitch. Now we're going to do a single crochet into the next stitch. Okay, so you are skipping the chain 1 that is between those 2 V-stitches from row 7. So we're going to do a single crochet into the next stitch and into the chain 1 space right next to it. Okay, whoops. Change colors back to color C. Okay, now do a front post treble crochet into the post directly below. Okay, skip or change back to color A, skip a stitch from row 7, do a single crochet into the next stitch and into the next chain 1 space. Okay, so this is where we're at. We've extended our post and we've put a popcorn in the middle. Okay, so this is what your repeat is going to look like. This is how it's going to start. You're going to do a single crochet into the next stitch, change to color C, do a front post treble crochet into the post below, change to color A, skip a stitch from row 7. That will mean we're going to put our next single crochet into the chain 1 space, a single crochet into the next stitch, and change to color C. Now we're going to do our popcorn into the middle of those 3 stitches below. So remember, a popcorn is 5 double crochets that we pull together at the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and remember at the end of that 5th double crochet, change to color A, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the top of the very first double crochet, pick up your loop and pull it through. Okay, we're going to skip that chain stitch right behind the popcorn and do a single crochet into the next stitch and into the chain 1 space right next to it. Okay, go ahead and change to color C, do a front post treble crochet into the post below, change to color A, skip 1 stitch from row 7, do a single crochet into the next stitch and into the chain 1 space. Okay, so we have completed our repeat. So you're going to go ahead and do this the rest of the way around, and I'll come back at the end. Okay, so I'm at my last front post treble crochet. I'm going to go ahead and put it in, change back to color A, and then you're still going to skip a stitch, do a single crochet into the next stitch, and then join with a slip stitch to your beginning single crochet. Okay, so for row 9, we don't need to carry color C all the way around this round. So we're just going to leave it loose in the back and work with color A. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is chain 4 and do a double crochet into the same stitch. Okay, then we're going to do a single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You are going to skip your popcorn stitch. Okay, so you'll be able to see it'll be a different color, and then go ahead and single crochet in the next 4 stitches. Okay. Now we're going to do a V-stitch into the next stitch, okay? So we're going to do a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Okay, so now let's go over the repeat now that we've gotten started. So the repeat starts with 4 single crochets in each of the next 4 stitches. So 2, 3, and 4. You're going to skip your colored popcorn stitch and do a single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. Okay, so 3 and 4. And then we do a V-stitch into the next stitch. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, end of repeat. Okay, so that is the way we're going to go ahead and complete this round. Start with your 4 single crochets, skip your popcorn stitch, do 4 more single crochets and a V-stitch, and you're going to do that all the way around. Okay, so I'm at my last single crochet for row 9. I'm going to go ahead and single crochet in my last stitch, and then you're going to slip stitch into the top of your first double crochet. Okay, and that would be the end of row 9. Okay, now to start row 10, you're going to go ahead and bring color C up and over, because we're going to use it for row 10. Okay, so we're going to slip stitch into our next chain 1 space. Okay, so we've done that. Go ahead and chain 1 and do a single crochet into the same stitch. Okay, single crochet into the next stitch and change to color C. Okay, we're going to do a front post double crochet into the post directly below and change to color A. Skip 2 stitches from row 9 and do a single crochet into the next stitch. change to color C, and now you're going to do a front post treble crochet into your marked stitch just below. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull out my stitch marker. A front post treble crochet, you want to have 2 loops on your hook. Go back behind it, yarn over, go through 2 loops, go through 2 loops, change back to color A. Do not skip a stitch, and do a single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. Okay, change to color C. Now we're going to do our other front post treble crochet into our marked stitch just below. Okay, so I'm going to wind twice, go back around my post. Okay, change to color A, skip 1 stitch from row 9, and do a single crochet into the next stitch, change to color C. Now we're going to do a front post double crochet around the post directly below, change to color A, do not skip a stitch. Okay, do a single crochet into the next stitch and into our chain 1 space. Okay, so let's look at what we've done here. Okay, your first post stitch is going to be a front post double. Okay, so on either side, the front post that extends these is a double crochet. Okay, our 2 inside post stitches are front post treble crochets. Okay, so you're going to do front post double, then a treble, treble, double. Okay, so now let's look at the repeat. Okay, the repeat is going to start with a single crochet into the next stitch, change to color C, do a front post double crochet around the post directly below, change back to color A, skip 2 stitches from row 9 and do a double crochet, a single crochet into the next stitch, change to color C, and now we're going to do a front post treble crochet around that marked stitch below. So yarn over twice, or wind your yarn twice, and then complete your front post treble crochet. Change back to color A. Okay, do not skip a stitch, and do a single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. Change to color C. Okay, do a front post treble crochet around your marked stitch directly below. Okay, so wind over twice, go back behind it. Okay, change back to color A. Okay, skip 1 stitch from row 9, do a single crochet into the next stitch, change to color C, and now we're going to do a front post double crochet. Okay, change back to color A, do not skip a stitch, do a single crochet into the next stitch and into the next chain 1 space. Okay, so that is your repeat. You're going to continue that all the way around. Okay, so I'm on my last front post double crochet of row 10. I'm going to go ahead and complete it and change back to color A. Okay, remember you're not going to skip a stitch, so we're going to do a single crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to do a slip stitch into our very first single crochet. Okay, and so this is what you should have at the end of row 10. Okay. Okay, so row 11. Okay, we're going to start row 11 by doing a chain 4 and a double crochet into the same stitch. Okay, we're going to skip one stitch from row 10, and we're going to do a V-stitch into the next stitch. Okay, so our V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, skip a stitch, then we're going to do a popcorn into the next stitch. Okay, so, and this might seem a little awkward because the popcorn is in our color A, but that is part of the pattern. Okay, so one more. Remember the popcorn is 5 double crochets, pull up a loop, insert your hook into that first double crochet and pull it tight. Okay, chain 2, skip 3 stitches and do a popcorn into the next stitch. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pull up a loop, go into the top of your first double crochet and pull, and pull your loop through. Okay, now you're going to skip one stitch and do a V-stitch into the next stitch. Okay, so there's my double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Okay, skip a stitch and do a V-stitch into the next stitch as well. Okay, so double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Okay, so let's take a look at what we've done here. Okay, so your popcorn stitches are going in the top of these middle posts. Okay, you're skipping the 3 stitches in the middle, and you have a chain 2 between your 2 popcorns and a V-stitch on either side of your popcorn. Okay, so now let's look at what the repeat looks like for all the way around. Okay, the repeat starts with skipping a stitch, do a V-stitch into the next stitch, so double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, skip a stitch, and do a popcorn into the next stitch. So I'm going to do my 5 double crochets for my popcorn. And on my 5th double crochet, I'm going to pull up a loop, insert my hook into the first double crochet and pull it tight. Chain 2 and skip 3 stitches and do a popcorn into the next stitch. Okay, so again with 5 double crochets. Okay, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the first one, and then pull your loop through. Skip one stitch and do a V-stitch into the next stitch. Okay, so 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, all in the same stitch. Skip a stitch and do a V-stitch into the next stitch. And that completes the repeat for row 12, okay? So remember, the repeat starts with a skipped stitch and it ends with a V-stitch. So we're going to go ahead and do that all the way around, and I'll meet you back for the end of it. Okay, so now I'm at the last V-stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then to end this round you are going to do a slip stitch into the beginning double crochet. Okay, and so then this is what you should have at the end of row 11. Okay, so moving on to row 12, we're going to go ahead and lay our color D across here because we're going to be using it in this row. You are going to start by slip stitching into your chain 1 space. So you just put your hook in, pull up a loop, and pull it through your loop. We're going to chain 1 and put a single crochet into that same space. Okay, so there's my chain 1 with my single crochet in the same space, a single crochet into the next stitch, but change to color D. Okay, now we're going to do a front post treble around our post directly below. So wind your yarn twice, go back behind the post. Okay, switch back to color A. Okay, now you are going to skip 1 stitch from row 11 and you're going to put a single crochet in the next stitch. That should be your chain 1 space. Okay, put a single crochet into the next stitch as well. Skip your popcorn stitch and put a single crochet into that chain 2 space. At the end of it, change to color D, and now we're going to do our first popcorn. So if you look down here, you have 3 stitches down here below. We're going to put our popcorn into that middle stitch. So I'm going to wind up, put it into the stitch, and then fold back the top rows. Okay, so now it makes it easier for me to hold it tight and get the rest of my 5 double crochets into that stitch. Okay, so one more. Remember, at the end of it you're going to change back to color A. So on that 5th double crochet, change back to color A. Well, okay, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the first double crochet and pull that loop through. Okay, now you're going to put another single crochet into that same chain 2 loop. Okay, skip the popcorn and put a single crochet directly into the next stitch. Okay, and a single crochet into the chain 1 space. Change to color D, and now we're going to do our front post treble crochet into the post below. So wind your yarn twice, go around your post and pull up a loop, and then pull through 2 loops twice. Change back to color A, skip 1 stitch from row 11 and do a single crochet into the next one, and then we will end the repeat with a single crochet into a chain 1 space. Okay, so here we go. This is what we should have. And now I'm going to do the repeat over again, and the repeat is what you're going to be doing all the way around. Okay, So the first thing you start with is a single crochet into the next stitch and end with a color change to color D. Now we're going to do a front post treble crochet into the post below and change back to color A. Okay, skip one stitch from row 11 and do a single crochet into the next one. This single crochet will fall into your chain one space. A single crochet into the next stitch, skip your popcorn stitch, and do a single crochet into your chain two space. Change to color D, and now we're going to do our popcorn in the middle of these 3 stitches just down below. Okay, so I'm going to yarn over and put it into that middle stitch and pull it up. Oops, I think I'm getting, nope, I'm not. And then I'm going to bend these back. Okay, and I'm going to put 5 double crochets into that stitch. Okay, remember on your 5th double crochet, you're going to finish it by changing to color A. Okay, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the first double crochet that you made for the popcorn, pick up your loop and pull it through. Okay, now we're going to put another double crochet, we're going to put a single crochet into that same chain 2 space that the popcorn is in front of. We're going to skip our next popcorn that is in color A and do a single crochet into the very next stitch. A single crochet into the next chain 1 space and change to color D. Okay, let's do our front post treble crochet now into the post directly below, and at the end change back to color A, skip 1 stitch from row 11 and do a single crochet into the next stitch, and we will end the repeat with a single crochet into the chain 1 space. Okay, so this is what it looks like right now. I'm going to go ahead and complete this row. I will come back at the end of it. Okay, so I'm going to put my last front post treble crochet into the post directly below, change back to color A, and you're going to skip 1 stitch from row 11, put a single crochet into the next stitch, and then join with a slip stitch to the very first single crochet. Okay, and so this ends row 12. Okay, so for row 13, we don't need to carry color D all the way around, so you can just leave it loose at the back right now. We're going to start by doing a chain 4 and then double crochet into the same stitch. Okay, then we're going to do a half double crochet into the next stitch. So half double crochet is where you wind 1 time, insert your hook into the stitch and pull up a loop, just like you would a double crochet, but instead of pulling through 2 loops, you pull through all 3. Okay, now we're going to do a single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. So 2, 3, 4, Now you're going to skip your popcorn stitch, and mine are always kind of hiding. It's the red right here. So you're just going to skip it and treat it like it's not there. Now we're going to do 4 more single crochets into each of those next stitches after the popcorn. Okay, another half double crochet. So wind it one time, insert your hook and pull up a loop, and then pull it through all 3. Now we're going to do a V-stitch in the next stitch. So a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Okay, so this is what this pie-shaped wedge looks like. So now let's cover what each of the repeats looks like. Okay, so a repeat is going to start with a half double crochet into the next stitch. Okay, a single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. Okay, skip your popcorn stitch, which is the red right here, or yours might be a different color. It's skipping your color D, and then do 4 single crochets into each of the next 4 stitches. Okay, a half double crochet into the next stitch, and a V-stitch in the last stitch. So double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and continue this repeat around, and I will come back at the end. Okay, so now we're going to start row 14. We're going to start by doing a slip stitch into the chain 1 space. I do have my color D brought over the top because we are going to use it this round. There's my slip stitch. I'm going to chain 1 and do a single crochet into that same space. Do a single crochet into the next stitch and change to color D. Okay, do a front post double crochet into the post below. Okay, change back to color A. Now you are going to skip 2 stitches from row 13. Okay, do a single crochet into the next stitch and change to color D. Now, if you will follow your post down right here and find your color A popcorn, if you will find those 2 things and pull them apart, between them you are going to see a double crochet. That is where we're going to do our next front post double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over twice, go into and around, and we're going to do our front post treble crochet. Okay, change to color A. Okay, do not skip a stitch, and do a single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. Okay, 3, 4, and 5. Change to color D. Now we're going to do our front post treble crochet for this side. So again, find your popcorn in color A and pull it to the side and pull your post aside, and you will see that double crochet back there. So I'm going to wind up twice and insert back and around and pull up a loop and pull through 2 loops twice. Change back to color A. Okay, skip 1 stitch and do a single crochet into the next stitch, switch to color D. Now you're going to do a front post double crochet around the post below. Change back to color A. Do not skip a stitch. Do a single crochet into the next stitch, and the last single crochet will go in the chain 1 space. Okay, so this is what we have. The thing to remember about this is your outside post stitches are going to be double crochets, and your inside post stitches are going to be treble crochets. Okay, so now let's go over the repeat that you're going to use all the way around. Okay, so it starts with a single crochet in the next stitch, change to color D, do a front post double crochet into the post below, change back to color A, skip 2 stitches from round 13, and then you're going to do a single crochet into the next stitch. Remember to finish it off by changing to color D. Now we're going to do our front post treble crochet. So remember, find your post and pull it to the side, and find your color A popcorn and pull it, and then you can see your double crochet back there. So yarn over twice, go back behind it, and then when you're done with that, change back to color A. Do not skip any stitches, and now you're going to do a single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. Okay? So 4 and 5, change back to color D. Okay, now we're going to do our other front post treble crochet. So find your color A popcorn and pull it and the post aside, and in the middle you see your double crochet that you're going to wrap around. Okay, complete your front post treble crochet and change to color A. Okay, skip 1 stitch and do a single crochet into the next one and switch back to color D. Now we're going to do our front post double crochet into the post below, complete a color change to color A. Do not skip any stitches. Do a single crochet into the next stitch, and we end with a single crochet into the chain 1 space. Okay, so that is the repeat that you're going to use all the way around. Okay, so I am completing the last front post double crochet for this row. Whoops, and I'm going to change back to color A. Okay, you are going to, don't skip a stitch, do a single crochet in the last stitch, and then you are going to do a slip stitch into the first single crochet that you made. Okay, and then here's what you have so far at the end of row 14. At the end of row 14, you can, let's see, can we break off? Yes, we can break off color D. So let's go ahead and cut the red, or color D, and then we're going to start row 15. Okay, so row 15 is all in color A for now. Okay, so to start row 15, you're going to chain 4 and do a double crochet into the same stitch. Okay, skip 1 stitch, do a V stitch into the next stitch, which is the double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, skip a stitch, and do a popcorn into the next stitch. Okay, so remember, popcorn is 5 double crochets. Okay, and your 5th double crochet, pull up your loop, insert your hook into your 1st double crochet and pull it through. Go ahead and chain 1, skip 2 stitches, and do a V-stitch into the next stitch. And this will be your middle stitch above that color D popcorn, okay? So our V-stitch is the double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Go ahead, chain 1 again, skip 2 stitches, and now we're going to do a popcorn into the next stitch. So again, you're going to do 5 double crochets, pull up a loop on your 5th one, insert your hook into your 1st double crochet and pull your loop through, skip 1 stitch and do a V-stitch into the next one. Okay, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, skip a stitch again and do a V-stitch into the next stitch. Okay, and then that concludes this repeat. Okay, so this is what you will end up with. So let's go over the repeat that you're going to use for this round. Okay, you're going to start the repeat by skipping a stitch, do a V-stitch into the next stitch, then you are going to skip a stitch again, and we're going to do a popcorn. Now these 2 popcorns are going to be inside of, they're going to be into your color D treble post stitches. So it will be the color D stitch to help you recognize that. Okay, so I pulled up a loop, insert it and pull your loop through. Okay, go ahead and chain 1 after that, skip 2 stitches, do a V-stitch, then you're going to skip 2 stitches again and do a popcorn into your next color D stitch, okay, so that it's easy to recognize. Okay, pull up a loop, insert your hook, grab your loop and pull it through. Okay, oh, you know what? I forgot something. So sorry, back up. We forgot, or I forgot, to put a chain 1 after that V-stitch in the middle. Okay, so do a chain 1, then do your popcorn. Okay, sorry about that. Got ahead of myself. Okay, so on the 5th one, pull up a loop, insert your hook and pull your loop through. Now this one, we go straight into the V-stitch. So you're going to skip 1 stitch after the popcorn and then do a V-stitch in the next stitch. Okay, and then do the same thing again. Skip a stitch and do a V-stitch into the next stitch. Well, okay, and that concludes our repeat. So you're going to do that all the way around. It's really starting to come together. I think it's after you put that fourth color on that you just kind of get the wow factor from it. So I'll come back when I get to the end of this round. Okay, so now I'm going to put in my last V-stitch, and then I will show you how we end this row. Is we're just going to do a slip stitch into the top of our first double crochet. Okay, so this is the end of row 15. Okay, so for row 16 we are going to use color E, so go ahead and lay it across when you begin this row. We are going to start by doing a slip stitch into the chain 1 space. Okay, do a chain 1 and then a single crochet into the same chain 1 space. Okay, do a single crochet into the next stitch and change to color E. Now we're going to do a front post treble crochet around our post below. So wind twice, go around the post. Okay, change back to color A, skip 1 stitch from row 15 and do a single crochet into the next stitch. That will be your chain 1 space. Do a single crochet into the next stitch, skip your popcorn, and do a single crochet into the next chain 1 space. We're going to go ahead and change to color E. Okay, and now we're going to do a popcorn. So if you look down here on the right side of this V stitch right here, you're going to see two chains. So the stitch that you're going to put that in is, if you look over here, you have 1 and 2. You're going to put them in the empty stitch directly next to the V stitch. Okay, so we're going to do a popcorn right there. So I'm going to insert my hook and bend the top back so I can do my double crochet, my 5 double crochets more easily. Okay, so let me go ahead, get that folded back good. I was picking up a stray strand from somewhere. Okay. Okay, remember on the last double crochet, go ahead and change back to color A. Okay, and pull up a loop, insert your hook into the first double crochet and pull your loop through. Okay, so there's your popcorn. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to do a single crochet into the next stitch, which is the right post on that middle V stitch. Okay, so go ahead and put a single crochet there, chain 1, skip that middle chain 1 space and do a single crochet into the next stitch. Change to color E. And now we're going to do another popcorn. This popcorn is going to go into there's 2 empty stitches below. You want it to go into the empty stitch right next to your V stitch. Okay, so it's going to go into the one right next to the V stitch. And now I'm going to go ahead and do my 5 double crochets. Remember on your 5th one to change to color A, pull up a loop and go insert your hook into the first double crochet and pull it through. Okay, that's your popcorn. Do a single crochet into the next chain one space. So that's right next to it. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Now we're going to skip our popcorn and do a single crochet into the next stitch and into the next chain one space. Go ahead and change to color E. Now we're going to do our front post treble crochet into the post below. Okay, change back to color A, skip one stitch, do a single crochet into the next stitch and into the next chain one space. Okay, so here we go. This is what we have at the end. So let's go over the repeat one more time, okay? So we start by doing a single crochet into the next stitch and we change to color E. Do a treble crochet into the post below, change back to color A, skip one stitch, and that will make us doing a single crochet into the chain one space. Do another single crochet into the next stitch, skip your popcorn, and do a single crochet into the next chain one space. Change to color E. Now we're going to do a popcorn. We want to do that popcorn in the empty stitch directly next to the V-stitch below. Okay. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Remember to change to color A on that 5th double crochet. Go ahead and close your popcorn. Okay. After you close it, we're going to do a single crochet into the next stitch, which is going to be the front post of that right post of the V-stitch in the middle. Okay, so a single crochet, a chain one, skip the chain one space, and do a single crochet into the next stitch. Change to color E. And now let's do the left side popcorn. It's going to go into the stitch directly to the left of the V-stitch now. Okay. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the 5th one, change to color A. Okay. Go ahead and close your popcorn. Okay. Now we're going to do our next single crochet is going to be in the next chain one space. Skip your popcorn. Do a single crochet into the next stitch and into the next chain one space. Change to color E. Do your front post treble crochet and change back to color A. Skip one stitch, do a single crochet into the next stitch, and we end the repeat with a single crochet into the chain one space. Okay, so here we are. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish this row and we'll come back at the end and get us ready for row 17. Okay, so I'm going to put in my last single crochet. You're going to skip one stitch, do a single crochet into the next stitch, and then join with a slip stitch into your very first single crochet. Okay, And so here is what it looks like at the end of row 16. Moving on to row 17, you're going to chain 4 and do a double crochet into the same stitch. Okay, now you're going to do a half double crochet into the next stitch. Oh, and just to remind you, we do not have to carry color E around, so we're going to leave it hanging in the back for this round, for this row. Okay, so half double crochet, remember that is where you yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch and pull up a loop, and then pull a loop through all 3. Okay, now we're going to do a single chain in each, a single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. You're going to skip your popcorn stitch. So if you look there, you'll see it's a different color. So you're going to skip it and do a single crochet into the next stitch, a single crochet into your next chain 1 space, and a single crochet into the next stitch. Now once again, we're going to skip our popcorn stitch, do a single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches, after you've completed that, you're going to do a half double crochet into the next stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, and then do a V-stitch into the next stitch. Okay, and that completes 1 repeat for this round. Okay, so I'm going to go over it one more time. This repeat starts with a half double crochet into the next stitch, a single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches, skip the popcorn stitch and do a single crochet into the next stitch, do a single crochet into your chain 1 space, and a single crochet into the next stitch. I got a little tight on that one. Skip your popcorn stitch again, single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. Do a half double crochet into the next stitch and a V-stitch into the next stitch. Okay, so that completes a repeat. So you're going to go ahead and do that all the way around. Okay, so I'm putting in my last half double crochet for this round. And to end the row, you're just going to do a slip stitch in the top of your first chain 4. You're going to do it in the chain 3, or we also would consider that the first double crochet. Okay, so for row 18, we are going to be using color E, so let's go ahead and grab it and bring it up and around. Okay, go ahead and slip stitch into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and then you're going to do 3 single crochets into the same space. Okay, do a single crochet into the next stitch and change to color E. Now we're going to do a front post double crochet into our post just below, change back to color A, and then we're going to skip 1 stitch from round 17 and we're going to do a single crochet into each of the next 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. On that 6th stitch, go ahead and change back to color E. Okay. Now we're going to do a popcorn in the space below. Okay. So you're going to be working in front of your single chain from row 17. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the space. There's a large space, and try to hook that chain 1 space from row 15, okay? And then I recommend bending it back so that you can hold it easier to get all of your double crochets for your popcorn stitch in there. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, and 5. Remember, at the end of the 5th one, we're going to change back to color A. Okay, pull up a loop, insert your hook into your first double crochet, and pull it tight. You are not going to skip a stitch. Okay, you're going to do 6 more single crochets, and you want that first single crochet to be in that chain, the single crochet that is over the top of your chain 1 space. But mostly just make sure that you're not skipping a stitch, okay? And you should be fine. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Change to color E at the end of that 6th single crochet. Now we're going to do a front post double crochet into the post just below. Change back to color A. Do not skip a stitch. Do a single crochet into the next stitch. And then we want 3 single crochets into the next chain 1 space. 2 and 3. Okay, so this row we've extended each of our posts and we've put a popcorn in the middle. Okay, and then we have 3 single crochets at each corner. So let's go over the repeat one more time. Okay, you're going to start with a single crochet into the next stitch and change to color E. Do a front post double crochet around the post directly below. Change back to color A. Skip 1 stitch and do a single crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, go ahead and change to color E. Okay, and now we're going to do, okay, let's cover the repeat again now. You're going to do a single crochet into your next stitch and change to color E. Then you're going to do a front post double crochet into the post that is directly below. Change back to color A, skip 1 stitch, and do a single crochet into each of the next 6 stitches. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, and on your 6th single crochet, change to color E. Now we're going to do the popcorn, Okay, so remember, if we're looking down here, you can see a hole right here, and then there's a chain 1 right above it. That's where we want to do our popcorn. So yarn over, insert your hook into that big hole, and kind of hook it around that chain 1. Okay, then bend yours back. Okay, so let me show you again. So yarn over, insert your hook into the big hole, and kind of hook that chain 1 that is just above it. Now I'm going to go ahead and do my 5 double crochets that make up my popcorn. On that 5th double crochet, change to color A, pull up a loop, and insert your hook into your first double crochet. Now remember, we're not going to skip a stitch. You're going to do a single crochet into each of the next 6 stitches. Okay, so there's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. On the 6th one, change to color E and do a front post double crochet into the post that is directly below. Change back to color A, do a single crochet into the very next stitch. Do not skip a stitch. And then do 3 single crochets into the chain 1 space. Okay, so that is your repeat. Okay, so I will come back and show you how to end this row. Okay, so I'm putting in my last stitch for row 18. Remember that you are not going to skip a stitch, and you're going to do a single crochet into the last stitch and then join to the very first single crochet that you made. Okay, at that point you can go ahead and break off your yarns. I don't think I cut off E earlier. And here we are done. Okay, so let me lay it out. Here's what it looks like. Okay, and this completes the octagon for this 2 weeks, and I will meet you back in 2 weeks for the next part.